is expected to sign a bill this week that will make medical marijuana legal. Find out how this will affect Georgians who need cannabis oil treatment for their conditions.
April 1st marks the grand opening for this Northeast Georgia hospital. It's the first hospital in the last 20 years in the state of Georgia that was built from the ground up. We'll tell you more about what it has to offer.
I spoke with a resident of a downtown living community who said that he was confronted by robbers right here in this location. Now this was on his walk home, and I found out exactly where you need to avoid in order to stay safe.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady News Source.
Hello, and welcome to Mock Show 570. I'm Ellen Cohen.
And I'm Janae James. Tonight's top story is the impending medical marijuana legislation. Georgians should finally have access to medical marijuana treatment very soon. Governor Dale is expected to sign the bill, also known as Haley's Hope Act, this week. Reporter Abby Jessen is following this bill and the effects it may have. Abby, why is this bill called Haley's Hope Act?
Well, Janae, it's named after Haley Cox, a young girl who suffers from severe epilepsy, having as many as 100 seizures per day. And she's not the only one who's suffering. Many others could benefit from this cannabis oil treatment.
Kelly Hopkins is a former resident of Georgia who had to move to Colorado so that her daughter Michaela could get proper medical treatment through the use of medical marijuana. Cannabis oil has drastically improved her health conditions.
An average 2 months for her before cannabis oil was 360 seizures. That was on the low side, and that lasted a total of 180 hours. And then starting the first 2 months on cannabis oil, she had 53 seizures that lasted a total of 8 hours and 38 seconds.
Those affected by the bill are excited about this new access to cannabis oil treatment, but critics say there is room for improvement.
It doesn't account for everyone's illnesses. It doesn't account for other illnesses that could be treated with different types of oil, and it just is too specific, and it just helps too less of people than it could help more if it was more broad.
The legislation in Georgia is much more restrictive than it is in other states who have passed similar legislation. So much so that Georgia has yet to figure out how to get the cannabis oil to Georgia, considering it is currently illegal for it to travel between states.
The passage of this law will make Georgia the 24th state to approve the use of medical marijuana. One local representative who voted in support of the bill said there is much more to be done. Chuck Martin said the implementation of the cannabis oil will be done carefully.
It's just another opportunity for these young people that are affected and the folks that are affected by these conditions to have something that can make their life better. And to the extent we can legislate and make that available to them while still keeping the controls in place to not go down that slippery slope, I think it's a good thing.
One of the controls mentioned are that the oil cannot have more than 5% THC. The final bill only approves 8 out of the 9 conditions that were originally proposed. The 8 approved conditions are cancer, ALS, seizure disorders, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, mitochondrial disease, Parkinson's disease, and sickle cell disease. Fibromyalgia was removed from this list in order to reach a compromise between the House and the Senate. A human may not be the only one performing your surgery at the new Northeast Georgia Medical Center. Find out how this is possible next.
Get out to the forest.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah!
Woo-hoo! Hey guys, wait up!
And discover the wonders of nature with your family.
These trees are the key to our way of life.
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great!
An endless forest adventure.
Let's rock this jungle! Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Tomorrow marks the grand opening of the Northeast Georgia Medical Center, Brazelton. This is the first hospital in the state of Georgia built from the ground up in 20 years. Reporter Ann Drinkard attended the hospital's open house to find out more. Ann, what exactly does that mean when you say built from the ground up?
Well, Ellen, they're basically saying that this is a completely new hospital, meaning it's not a relocation or a renovation of an existing hospital. And as you can see here on the map, the blue dots represent hospitals around the area, but up until this point, the Brazelton area has not had a hospital, which has caused it to be considered underserviced. And they did, lots of them. Dr. Alex Wynn and Dr. Holt Harrison stood in this operating room for 3 hours on Sunday talking with community residents about what the new hospital has to offer. Residents in Jackson, Barrow, or Hall counties have had to travel upwards of 20 miles for outpatient surgery until now. One local resident said she was impressed with what she saw.
I also had an appointment in the new medical building, so we decided to ride out so that we would know where it was and see the new hospital too. It's very pretty and really very nice. We needed a hospital in this area.
Hospital President Anthony Williamson called this hospital their hospital in reference to the local community. Williamson said they leaned on members of the community for input throughout the building process.
When we started planning the facility, we did a number of community events to involve them in the planning of the hospital, so they helped us with a number of things in terms of what the hospital is going to look like, what kind of services they want to have here.
The most important element that this hospital will provide are the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency services. Because the area has been underserved, this will be a huge benefit to those who need critical care.
They're very pleased that they know now that if an ambulance shows up to pick them up, it's a much shorter ride to get to an ER than it was in the past. So, and sometimes that can make a big difference in their outcome.
And that is what it's all about, saving patients' lives. With 100 beds, 7 ORs, 2 cath labs, and 1 intensive care unit, the Northeast Georgia Medical Center of Brazelton will do just that.
Now, President Williamson did say they will start construction in May to add obstetrics to their list of services. The hospital anticipated around 2,500 attendees for the 3-hour open house event and had largely exceeded that number 2 hours in. Another component of the emergency services that the Brazelton Medical Center has to offer is a landing pad for private helicopter companies to transport patients to and from the hospital. If every flight crew team is a specially trained surgical crisis and special procedures that cannot be done on the ground. Flight nurse Tamara Underwood says that a flight crew can be headed towards the scene less than 10 minutes after receiving a call. The location can be crucial for patients with life-threatening injuries.
Well, I think it's extremely beneficial because it cuts their time down if they're in a serious emergency and they need to get somewhere very quickly, or they need to get from here to downtown. It cuts their time over half, you know, for response time to get to the higher level care that they're going to need.
Underwood says the Air Methods crew came out Sunday to show the community they are there to provide for them, despite the common misconception that private companies serve only specific hospitals and not the patients themselves. If you ever have surgery done at this hospital, a robot may be the one cutting and stitching you up. Most people think a small hospital cannot have this kind of technology, but the Northeast Georgia Medical Center does. Kids at the open house lined up to sit at the surgeon's council and act as though they were the ones performing the surgery. It's like they were about to play the most exciting video game. They could see how the robot mimicked every little movement they made with their hands.
It sends a message to the tower where it interprets that, and it shoots it straight to basically the patient card. And the patient card is basically those arms that you're seeing that's coming down.
Those arms hold all the instruments the robot will need for the surgery. Dr. Wynn says those arms will do a better job than even the most skilled surgeons.
If you think about what happens with a system is that as you're making movements, the robot actually filters out things like tremor. I mean, even the best surgeon has a tremor. It actually makes that go away.
And this is only the beginning. Dr. Wynn anticipates that this system will allow doctors to perform surgeries that have never been done before.
If you can imagine having one incision about this big with an instrument about this big, one incision going into the abdomen, and then on the inside spreading out instruments and camera.
Overall, this system allows for smoother, safer, and less painful surgeries. And Dr. Wynn says the recovery time is much quicker. A series of robberies is troubling one local apartment complex. Find out what you can do to keep your belongings safe.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/therightseat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
An Athens side road has become a danger zone for residents who commute by foot. 3 men have been confronting residents for personal items like their cell phones. Reporter Savannah Wilson went to the location of the robberies. Savannah, why is it a danger zone?
Mary Grace, it's in part because of the way the area is laid out. Today I was right outside the woods where the robbers have been confronting the residents, and in the broad daylight, it looks safe. It's a different story, however, when the sun goes down. The standard apartments are conveniently located for students at the University of Georgia. Now, a side road nearby is threatening the safety of the residents. This side road is a popular cut-through for both the residents of the Standard and of Whistleberry Walk. One Standard resident describes his encounter with the 2 men on Foundry Street.
2 guys with hats and either white shirts or white masks tied around their face came out of the woods and crossed the street and started following me. So luckily I noticed them and started walking a little bit faster and pulled out my phone in case I needed to call 911.
Taylor didn't need to call 911 at the time, but once he got to his residence, he made the call. The Standard sent an email out to its residents notifying them of the report. The street is also surrounded by parking lots that are empty late at night. Taylor says he would feel more comfortable if police patrolled the area during that time.
Maybe they should take some of the police officers off the corner of Clayton and Jackson Street instead of having 3 cops there looking for MIPs. Maybe put one over there to stop the underage kids from getting robbed at gunpoint.
The general manager of the Standard apartment complex refused to comment and said that corporate handles media requests. They never responded.
This street is normally a convenient place for residents to get around, but the recent robberies have made that a thing of the past. Most residents of the Standard take North Thomas Street throughout the night to get to and from their apartments. However, since the recent robberies, residents have been altering their nightly routes to ensure their safety. One resident at the Standard explains the changes she has made since she was informed about the robberies.
After hearing about the robberies, it really made me not want to walk home by myself at night and made me want to walk home earlier and have a guy friend go home with me because I'm too scared to walk home by myself because of my safety.
Along with walking home with friends, a majority of the residents have turned to getting rides from cabs. The Standard has distributed safety guidelines to the residents for when they are walking to and from the building, as well as while they are inside. While in the building, the Standard has advised residents to always deadbolt the front door whenever inside, look through the door's peephole before opening the door to anyone, and close all curtains, blinds, and window shades at night. While walking to and from the complex, the Standard has advised residents to lock all of your doors, even while only leaving for a few minutes. Leave a TV or radio playing when you are not in your apartment. And again, never walking alone is the best way to make sure you do not become a victim of a robbery. Coming up.
Using a cell phone while driving isn't the only way to land you a citation in Athens. Find out how police are cracking down on distracted driving.
It's terrifying, it's disgusting, and it must be stopped. Throughout downtown Athens, mindless zombies are throwing recyclable items in the trash. No! But you can be a hero. Groovy. Use the downtown recycling bins for all your recyclable items. Cans, bottles, paper, and more can all be recycled. So use the downtown bins and don't be a mindless zombie. To save this world, we must recycle more.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay, but remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I ride the bus.
I ride the bus.
Nosotros usamos el autobús.
Athens Transit would like to remind you that the bus is for everyone. Riding the bus is safe, affordable, and convenient. For work, for shopping, or anything else, the bus can take you there. And when you need a little extra help, the bus is ready to meet your needs. So remember, the bus is for everyone.
I ride the bus.
For routes and complete information about the bus, visit athensclarkcounty.com/transit.
Athens police say there are more than 300 accidents a month in Athens caused by distracted driving. Reporter Aaron O'Brien says there are some things drivers do that might surprise you.
Okay, Kara, how about reading a book while driving, looking in the rearview mirror to do your makeup? Pretty much anything you'll do in your living room sitting down, people will do while driving. Driving through Athens can be stressful enough with all the traffic and pedestrians around. Throw in someone not paying attention to the road and your risk of an accident is greatly increased. Athens Clarke County Police have been cracking down on distracted driving after a recent rise in distracted-related incidents. Some of the causes, however, may surprise you.
Prior to that, we've had issues with folks changing a CD, or eating a sandwich, reading a newspaper, reading a book. All things that you can think of sitting down, people try to do while they're driving.
The Traffic Division of Athens Clarke County says that these rules and regulations are necessary in order to help save lives.
None of those people plan to leave that day and be involved in a crash. So, if you're not paying attention and you're texting and doing things you shouldn't be doing in the car, odds are going to catch up with you, unfortunately.
The odds caught up with Sarah Schuer, but she says she wasn't texting. She thinks more information needs to be provided to drivers in order to avoid situations like these in the future.
Because I didn't know that apparently eating is illegal and listening to music is illegal. I thought it was just texting. So yeah, I wish there was more information out there.
Don't drive intoxicated in Georgia. These are the types of slogans that people see every day. However, drivers wish there were more to help them with other risky behaviors.
Thanks, Aaron. The AAA Foundation just released a study on the dangers of distracted driving as well. According to the study, the driver was inattentive or distracted by some other non-driving related activity in 58% of the crashes overall. The most common acts were interacting with passengers and cell phone use. Passengers were present in 36% of all crashes. As you can see in this graphic, young passengers can have just as much of an impact on accidents as the actual driver. 4 out of 5 passengers were estimated to be between 16 and 19 years old. Also, in 1 out of 10 crashes, the driver was using a cell phone. As a result of driving distracted, drivers had an average of less than 2 seconds to react before a crash. In order to avoid an accident, the AAA Foundation urges drivers to avoid distractions at all costs. Drivers should avoid taking excessively long glances away from the road in front of them as a precautionary measure. The Governor's Highway Safety Association also suggests that if drivers need to use their phone, to pull over. Overall, drivers should also limit the number of passengers and the level of activity inside the car. More information can be found about distracted driving at AAAfoundation.org. It's Emergency Preparedness Week at UGA, a week dedicated to advising students and faculty on how to handle the unexpected.
It's Emergency Preparedness Week at UGA, and one student sat down with us and told us about how her family just barely escaped a house fire.
Welcome to the Athens Clarke County Tennis Center in Athens, Georgia. Completed in 2013, the Tennis Center offers great play all year round on 12 fully lit hard surface courts. There are accommodations for spectators and enough space to host a tournament. The main building features energy-efficient construction, ADA accessibility, a covered pavilion, and much more. Players of all ages enjoy open play, clinics, and summer tennis camps at the Athens Clarke County Tennis Center. Because in Athens, Georgia, tennis is for everyone.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
This is the Oconee Street Park and Ride Lot, where you can park for free on weekdays and ride the bus into downtown Athens and UGA. The Downtown Express runs every 20 minutes during peak commuting hours. So skip the parking fees and traffic hassles. Park for free and ride into downtown Athens and UGA from the Oconee Street Park and Ride.
Park and ride. Park and ride. Park and ride.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
It's Emergency Preparedness Week at UGA, a week dedicated to advising students and faculty on how to handle the unexpected. The first workshop of the week was on fire safety, a topic that was all too real for one student we talked to. Lana, what did she tell you?
Shannon, Brittany Winbush said a fire started in her room while she was sleeping. A simple floor heater was all that it took for her and her family to lose their home. Brittany Winbush returned home from a spring break vacation around 10 o'clock at night, and by midnight she woke up to find her room on fire.
Vaguely remember waking up, and just seeing smoke and orange. I didn't realize my room was on fire. I just knew like I couldn't see. I kept wondering like, why can't I see anything?
The cause of the fire is still unknown, but they believe it to have been started from a floor heater placed at the bottom of her bed, her feet catching the first of the flames.
I didn't realize my feet were on fire until I went outside and like the air hit my feet and stuff. So then I guess like 5 minutes later, once we had got outside and moved the cars out the garage, my whole room just blew up.
Tragedies like these can be avoided altogether if students know the right thing to do in a crisis situation. Lieutenant Wes Thompson of Athens-Clarke County's fire department says that lethal mistakes can be made when people don't know that they're doing the wrong thing.
You're just trying to get out, but you don't know opening that door. You don't think about it. You're going out. You're changing the environment inside. So if we're in a room and it's getting hot and smoky, the one thing it's lacking is oxygen. So if you go to that door and open it, it's going to get that oxygen. So that room, as soon as you open the door, that room could burst into flame.
He advises that people get down, feel the wall, and find an exit. But the best thing a person can do is plan ahead.
Just know where you need to go to get out and practice it. Try to do it with your eyes closed.
Everyone in the house is okay, but it just goes to show that a house fire like that can happen to anybody, and it's important to have a plan and be prepared for crisis situations like these.
Lana, what happens if a person doesn't have an extinguisher? Are there any other ways to put out a fire?
Actually, yes. Lieutenant Thompson said that you can actually use baking soda to throw on like a house fire that starts in the kitchen or on the stovetop.
That's a great tip. Thanks, Lana. Emergency Preparedness Week continues in the Miller Learning Center tonight. There will be a presentation on active shooter incidents in the Miller Learning Center. Public Relations student Lydia George is helping coordinate the events with the Office of Emergency Preparedness. The active shooter presentation is just one of the events that will help her promote awareness.
I didn't really know what to do if there's an active shooter or what to do if there's a chemical spill. And just focusing on this client, we've kind of learned this process and how to be prepared and how to help others too.
Tonight's presentation will feature an expert who will give tips to students on what to do in case such an emergency happens. While UGA has never experienced a real active shooter, there have been threats of gun usage on campus.
Thank you for watching Mock Show 570.
Be sure to check out our website at grady.uga.edu/570 for more of our stories and updates on a regular basis.
Good night.
Grady News Source is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
You guys going to my party on Friday?
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be crazy.
All right.
What's up, dude?
I'm loving your jacket.
Don't be such a fag.
If you don't mean it, why say it? Words hurt. Think before you speak.
I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. To me, being the first person to go to college, it's like setting a standard, you know? My little brother is 8 years old now. I challenge his curiosity. I challenge him to dream. I have to paint a picture for him that he can look up to and live up to and possibly be better than. My name is Jaquez, and I am your dividend.
Driving down Oconee Street in Athens, you might get a glimpse of this in your rear view mirror. This red building is famously known as the REM Steeple and sits right behind Nucci Space. It used to be a part of St. Mary's Episcopal Church, but in 1990 the church was torn down, leaving the steeple to stand alone.
My personal connection to it is that it's music related, and that's what I've chosen to do with my life.
All right, welcome to Mock Show 5570. I'm Michael Castangera. 55, 75, 30.
No. 5, 40, 70.
5. So we had some problems with television. Anyway, as always, we're going to walk through the newscast. This is the post-show critique. We'll talk to the director, the producer, and the assignment manager. We'll go over some of the things. All in all, though, a pretty solid newscast. We had some nice things. I'm glad to see the people going out and doing some things on weekends and doing some extra shoots. I think I already talked to one of you about saying I want to see about getting some of the Gainesville stations to pick up your story, because I'm pretty certain they'll take that one, so that's good. But with that as a basic introduction, let's go to the director, who tells me he's never been on set before like this with all the lights.
I don't like it. I'm mass media arts, it's not my thing. But I'm Brian Pittman, I directed this mock show, and I haven't directed.
Just curious why you paused before you said.
I forgot what it was called.
Oh, okay, good.
I haven't done a mock show in like a year and a half, so. But I think it went pretty well. I think it was Cameron's first time doing camera. She did great. Everyone on the technical end did a great job. I really don't have that many comments. I don't know. I thought it was really good. All the anchors did a great job. Connor held it together.
It's a word.
That's a nice change. No. Yeah, the only thing I think we do need to address is, and there's not an easy solution to that, but Connor will send out a note. I'm going to send out a note as well. We probably need to put pad at the front and the back of all our packages and BOs and SOTs, because we were dipping the black pretty consistently, because that sucker runs tight. And boy, you just have to hit it, on the button to make sure we hit the video from that. So you have to anticipate almost and say roll before this piece is actually over in order to get clean. So that's something we just need to look at. Cool. All right, nothing else?
No, I don't have anything else. Connor?
Am I good?
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to be too strung out on compliments, but this was a really strong show. I thought, I was a little concerned just about getting everything in on time and hitting times, and everything worked out perfectly. It worked its way out in the end. Let's start. Formatting in CAN, just going over some stuff. Just don't put the package in, the green package thing in your rundown. Remember to put both sides of the remote in the package, and then put like the anchor tag, and if you want to go back to the remote again, put that in the tag part. Remember, just don't put scripts in prompter. We only had one issue with that today, and we caught it in time, fortunately. But and we're getting better at it. Just let's try to have next week where we get that number down to 0. Get your times in, because that makes my job a heck of a lot easier. And
going forward, like you're gonna know, okay, we're hitting these times. It's gonna make everything a lot easier. So either come up to me or come up to whoever the assignment editor is or whoever the producer is. Don't come up to me if I'm not the senior producer or assignment editor. Just to get those in, because that's gonna make the senior producer's job and the assignment editor's job that much easier. VO length, always make it longer than you think it needs to be. If you think it's like 15 and you're questioning, just go ahead and make it 30. I know on like 2 of them, they were a little short, and fortunately Jake came in and did an awesome job on playback tonight, and we were able to work around it. But just for future reference, always go longer on playback, because we can always just go ahead and jump right into the SOT whenever it's ready. Like Castangera said, padding on packages. The other thing, font, that I saw this in a couple of them. It's always Helvetica bold. It is always white unless it is on a black background, or unless it's on a white background. I think for one of the full screens in either the C or the D block, it was just black, and it looked different, and that's just not how it's done.
It's just hard to read too, because the color contrast isn't as strong.
Just that's a quick reminder thing, but those are like my big show notes. If you have anything else to add, I was just going to go into blocks real quick and knock this out.
No, we could go through the, on general points, let me make a couple of ones. Let's tag, unless we have interaction, we'll tag live. So for example, if Ann is tagging out in the newsroom, she'll say live in the newsroom, I'm Ann Drinkard, okay? Actually, it should be the reverse. I'm Ann Drinkard live in the newsroom, so we have a standard out for the director, okay? If there's interaction, Q&A, we don't, okay? At that point, the anchor asks a question, and the person answers it and say thank you, and then we move on, so that's fine. Already mentioned, I've said we can do the sound bites and interviews with people that are recorded by phone, but they're pretty awful. Let's minimize them unless it's really, really desperate. We had a couple that I'm sitting there going, it wasn't worth the sound bite, and they get real hard to distinguish. Hand her a mic.
Can we somehow possibly figure out how to do Skype?
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
We did it.
Yep.
We did it in NewsSource when I was managing one time, and so it's definitely like we can record it. It just gets tricky for us because like NewsSource is actually going on and they're recording. So like it's definitely possible, but it's just not.
Yeah, and what we need to do, I think, and I've talked to Professors Hazinski and Cantrell, we need to buy, and unfortunately, because I won't make a smart-ass remark.
Don't get fired.
That was whatever. We'll have to pay for it, and we'll buy it. So, but we have to do the upgrade of Skype, and then you can record it and do it. Yeah.
Car wash.
Huh?
Car wash.
Weather's getting nice on a pond outside.
What a good idea. Yeah, I think that's it. And you can, if you do it early enough, as you said, we can do it in here.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are ways to do it actually with the Pro, but I'm not exact. We tried to do it one time and it took forever, and it can be done, but it gets complicated. So, but that is an option to take it in here. The other one is if you desperately have to do those interviews and the sound bites and it's by phone, make sure we're doing it in the booth, okay, and not over your regular one, because we can compress the audio and get it a lot better, okay? The only other one is when you're getting sound bites with people, try to get them saying something more conversational and not factual. We got a lot of officials saying, well, it was, 340 miles, but then they went north by north, and then blah, 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 and then that means 4 out of 10 do this, blah, 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 blah. I'd rather hear them say, boy, you wouldn't believe the idiots some of these people pull in, cars, and get them when you do the interviews. You get formalized interviews, you're going to get a formalized soundbite, okay? You as the reporters can recite the facts better than the officials. So those are just some of the general comments. All right, back to you, Mr. Connor.
All righty. A block, good job. You guys got all your stuff in. Time-wise was fine. I'm a little bummed we didn't get to do the OTS, Danielle. We were supposed to have one scheduled, and we just couldn't. And I think we would have been able to do it. Just couldn't get it dropped the right way. But I like that she was trying to do different things. And
and I would love to see some of the more OTS on the others, and then sometimes we can do it when we're going into readers in particular. An OTS on a reader makes a lot more sense. Most places will tell you, I'm going to do an OTS on a reader every time instead of a straight shot because I want some sort of visual reinforcement. But that could be a standard.
Yeah. Other than that, block was clean, block was good, easy, in and out. You guys had your stuff in on time. B block,
and I think the stories were, jump in, good. We had the issues, we did one or two. We do need to still figure out the fibromyalgia question and why the hell fibromyalgia, isn't it? We spent all day trying to figure that out.
The world's biggest mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, there's somebody who's against the Fibromyalgia Foundation in the U.S. in the state Senate, whatever. But yeah, and we worked through those, and then it became pretty solid. Good. All right, now B block, sorry.
B block, I've seen a lot of mock show blocks in my time as a manager, and I don't think I've ever seen a better top to bottom stories, video, everything working out fine, having it in on time. Then B block. You guys had two great packages, even though I'm terrified of robots. The robot thing was really cool, and it was really interesting, and it was informative. You guys did a great job of going out shooting that stuff, because I know that county isn't close by. Great job with the initiative. Everything was done. It made my job a heck of a lot easier by having all your stuff in, and just great job all around. You guys deserve it.
I'm not going to go quite as euphoric as Connor, but it was very solid. It was well shot. There was a lot of people, a lot of movement. I saw a lot, and it tells you something that the people watching, a couple of them all said, wow, this is pretty damn good. It was very well done, and my compliments to you. That one was a solid actual block. That's why I said I want to talk to the people in Gainesville, because you know, if I'd known fast enough and early enough, we could have probably got it on their website tonight. And that's the biggest damn website in all of North Georgia, and I'd love to get it on there. So let me see what I can do about that.
How was the newsroom shot? Was it okay?
Newsroom shot was good.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
And I like that we were able to get that graphic up in there, because that's just another
the only thing we needed to do in that box, it was a little small in the graphic, but you referenced it. And then, as he said, Jake did a nice one. We took it full, which was good, because then it was a clean wipe. And as you were talking about it, it actually seemed well planned. So no, that actually worked out well.
Yeah, I saw it go to full screen, and I was like, good, because it looked small to me on the screen. Like, you couldn't see the...
Yeah, you couldn't see it. Yeah, and there's a difference when we put the full screen in a BAM versus taking it full screen, a graphic. So there's a different dimension. But yeah, it was a good move making it up as a full screen. You had, the one question I would throw, you had 3 sound bites with Dr. Nguyen. Yeah. And no... yeah, she's waiting for the other foot to drop. No, that's fine. Normally I'm going to say no, okay? You know, 2 sound bites from one person.
I was just going to say that, like, she didn't, until we got home, she didn't say, oh, we have enough to do a package. So, like, we didn't go in there specifically trying to interview him about this technology and, like, all this stuff. It was just, like, as the interview progressed about the hospital, he started talking about it. So.
Yeah, well, let me finish the second half of it, which is normally it's not, but he was so good. He was so animated. He was great on camera, so it was a terrific interview, and quite frankly, the 3 sound bites worked in that. That's unusual.
And also, I think he was the only surgeon that was in the room, like, mainly demonstrated. Like, I guess there were some other people who worked there, but, I mean, he was, like, the main person.
The other surgeon wasn't, like, this guy was, like, 6 years certified on a system like the robotic system, but the other guy was, like, brand new, so he probably wouldn't have had.
Probably a little more shy. That's fine. Yeah, he was great, though. That's the point. So that's terrific. If I get a good interview, that's terrific. All right. C block.
C block. It was good. You guys had your stuff in on time, which always makes my job easier, and that's I think the big thing we've made huge strides in terms of just getting stuff done, getting it turned in on time, and having it ready to go. That way we're all able to get in here and do some rundowns and be ready to go. You guys did a couple of full screens, which was nice. The font issue, obviously, but that's just something for next time. Yeah. I liked how you guys matched. I don't know if y'all coordinated that, but that was really well done. Again, very similar to the A block. They all were diverse stories, and they all built off a central angle, and I thought it was good.
Yeah. Connor was trying to get something in blue to match.
You
but it
know,
didn't
I
quite.
just my other blue's at the dry
shade
cleaners.
chooses
So
town.
yeah.
Yeah, the only one there is obviously we had the issue of getting, talking to the apartment complex. And quite frankly, I'm not going to take the horse hockey from some guy and say, you know, they don't want, you know, this thing, they weren't available for comment type thing. It's like, no, they're scared poopless. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it. But we just call them out on it. And quite frankly, that's what we did with your story and said, that's fine. But when we do a story saying, you know, Standard Apartments basically is letting people getting raped, murdered, and killed, and your corporate guy comes crawling down your butt, you know, that's your problem. You know, remember, ours is the issue of, it's not like we need the soundbite. We're doing it out of fairness. We want to give you the shot. The only thing we didn't do, which we really needed to do, was ACCPD.
Yeah.
We needed to come to them.
I know. I needed a lot more reporting, and like I tried contacting the wrong police department, so that worked. That was obviously not a good idea. So I did like the UGA police department. So that was just my lack of.
Yeah, and just as a point of reference, Standard is downtown. That means it's Athens Clark County Police Department.
So
or
that
Chief
was,
Williamson gets called out on everything. You know, it's like, oh my God, do you realize somebody dropped their purse in Coney County? Let's call Chief Williamson.
Yeah, so I needed a little bit more content. And like I thought I had it with the Standard, and then they didn't work out. So then kind of just like dwindled right out from under me. So
that was the only issue. We got the one guy, but we needed more. We needed to meeten that up a little bit more and get the reaction. The only other one is a criticism. We repeated the same shot.
Yeah.
In both the package and in the VO. So that young woman has suddenly become the most famous person on, you know,
the boy
mock show. Yeah.
Man, woman.
Woman, boy. Really?
This last thing on the C block will also work for the D block. Future producers, people who write teases, make sure that you put in coming up because that wasn't Kara's fault at all on the D block. That was all me. I didn't.
I was like, I'm just gonna go with it.
That was my bad. I didn't write in coming up. That's why Kara looked bad, and that's all my fault.
Well, no, she didn't look bad. Actually, she was fine. It's just that we jumped out in the middle of it. And Kara's just bopping along, and it's going.
Yeah. D block, I would be lying if I didn't say early on I was worried about you guys and if you guys were gonna get your stuff turned in, but you turned it around. You got it done. You got everything done on time. You guys were in the newsroom. You were ready to go. Everything was all done correctly. So it's nice to know that people can turn stuff around quickly and not have to worry about it.
I will say that one thing that really helped was that we had several angles that we wanted to have going into this story, and then just some of them didn't end up working out, and then we did end up having the one that we thought wasn't going to work out did work out. So because of that, then we were able to cover 2 different angles within that package. So obviously it would have been great to have like an insurance company, you know, talk to us about it, and also have one of the driving schools talk to us about it. But at least we got 2 out of the 4 we tried to get to, you know, return our call.
And quite frankly, that can end up being a future story for News Source next semester, because it still will hold up, obviously, and you've got some stuff. You got a lot of stats in there. The full screens, I think, helped break that up a little bit, and that was good. So
yeah, what happened there with the full screens? Because there seemed like there was some complications.
I think in the rundown in there, and I don't know, Brian, the director doesn't look at the script he marks down, so he just didn't know when to take it because I guess it wasn't marked properly.
So do we need to do something about that when we're putting it in?
Yeah, I think it's again part of that becomes the communication at that meeting. Okay.
When it's a full screen.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but like in terms of like marking it in can. Yeah, like when it's taking it. Yeah.
I think there's been debate back and forth, but I still think the idea becomes you insert a graphic and that doesn't tell me, but you can move it down. What you want to do is
just go VO for future reference.
Put it down as a VO.
Ideally, like that's not what you would do, but just because like we don't look at our like big scripts anymore, so like when we write it down, like where to take it, like the director isn't looking at that anymore. We're looking at the prompter.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. So what we should do is it should say
for the director's
VO
sake.
and graphics, and then that way when a director looks at it, says, "I know it's a voiceover full
And I'll
screen."
put that. I'll make sure to put that in my producer notes.
It's a good idea. All right.
E-Block, I don't know, I was told at 6 that your guys' script wasn't approved. I don't know if that was just what happened there, just, Castinger got busy or not. I know I was out of the room for about an hour and a half, but don't let that happen. don't let that happen again, because Castengary was ready to kill the whole block right there. And fortunately, you guys had it done. He just hadn't looked over it and approved it.
And that was the problem.
Yeah.
It was done. They were all written.
Oh, sorry.
They were all written,
Yeah.
and then I went to take my test, and when we got
Yeah.
back, they still weren't approved. So I'm
Yeah.
not really sure how
That's
that.
just we have to, as a group, communicate better with him and make sure, like, just make sure, like, if you're leaving and you need stuff to prove, just let him know, like, hey, I'm going to be out of the class, but my stuff is done. Look over it when you have the chance. So for future reference, just do that. Other than that, I thought, the package was fine. Shannon, you did a good job of adjusting. And when we took the double box, I kind of tell that you hadn't been cued, but you saw yourself on screen and led right into it and did a good job making sure that everything looked fine and great. So good job on that. Other than that, that's
Cool.
it.
Anybody else?
All right, sweet.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Let's go home.